Greetings to you all. This is my first video from ISC 2025. Today I attended a new product presentation by Alcons Audio. Those speakers sounded phenomenal and I have learned a lot about Pro Ribbon technology.
My name is Fortmüller. I run my own company, so my company is called Zenzaru and I have the privilege of traveling the world and actually building systems from scratch, sitting down with the architect, doing their optimizing room dimensions for bass notes and acoustical design and everything to finally tuning a system. My real luck is that I have flexible tools like Alcons at my disposal. That's my huge luck. Because what do I look for in a speaker system and what makes this particular speaker system so special? It's flexibility. Usually you have to make choices. It's always a compromise. There are hundreds of speaker designs out there and they are based on a handful of different concepts, and you have concepts that focus on output quality, whatever that is. So you have stuff like distortion characteristics, dispersion patterns. You look for a very delicate resolving sound, a smooth sound, a non-fatiguing sound, and you end up with something like a soft tone driver. It can be a near-field mixing monitor, for example. But a soft dome is very limited in efficiency and it's very limited in total sound pressure level output. So you cannot really push it far, but that's the big compromise. And then you have designs like compression drivers, horn-loaded compression drivers that focus on SPL aspects and try to get away with a few anomalies in how they reproduce sound. So it's always a compromise. A ribbon is also a big compromise. So ribbons are renowned for their sound quality. They are very delicate. They can match any soft dome on the market in that regard. But they are fragile and they are low efficiency. Again, you cannot push them far. So there are similar technologies, AMTs for example, air motion transformers, hundreds of them out there. They have more output, but compromise a little bit of sound quality. This is a proprietary driver that's very unique in the market in a way that you can have it both in one package. So this driver, what I love about this particular driver, and it's proprietary, it's patented, only Alcons has access to it. There's no other speaker manufacturer that can use it. And this technology has been, the origin of it is actually in a Philips R&D project decades ago, and it has been refined into what is the most scalable driver on the market. What do I mean with that? This is a studio monitor, a near-field studio monitor that's about to be released based on a 2-inch ribbon driver. That should give you a bit of an idea of the sound quality that you can expect from that technology. So this particular tool is like an acoustic lens to judge mixes and every little nuance and detail in a mix. And then you scale that technology. You take a 2-inch and you have a lot of 2-inch ribbons around you. So all the surrounds and the height layer, all 2-inch ribbons. And then you have a 4-inch ribbon. We'll use that for the front width here. And then you scale it up, 6-inch, 8-inch, 12-inch, 14-inch. And then you begin to stack them. And then you end up with a line array. And then you have the same exact technology, the same exact driver, scaled up in length and stacked from a near-field studio monitor all the way up to a line array serving 50,000 of people on a full beat rock concert all day long without breaking a sweat. So you know that it can handle sound quality, and you can know and you see that there is basically no limit to its output when you scale it up. And that's a completely unique combination. What's the catch? The big catch of any kind of line source driver or ribbon style driver, let's call it like that. And this is not a ribbon. technology behind it is planar. It's a planar driver. The big catch is dispersion. The longer you make such a driver, the more you collapse the vertical dispersion. So an AMD, for example, ends up with like 18 degrees. I measured that myself on a Bema TPL 150. Great driver, only real catch for me, dispersion. 18 degrees of vertical dispersion. I cannot really make use of that. Even if you sit right in the sweet spot, it has so many implications on the sound propagation throughout the room acoustics, all that. Because you don't hear just the direct field. You hear the reflections and the reverberant field as well. And all that blends together and gives you a certain sound stage and illusion. This patented waveguide design, and we have that for a couple of years now, takes this inherent disadvantage of this technology and turns it into what I perceive its strongest point, its strongest argument for it. Because again, flexibility, it allows me to choose different dispersion patterns throughout that room for all my applications. I can shoehorn a system layout, a speaker layout to pretty much any scenario, room size, room shape, whatever you have it. For example, this gentleman sits far too close to the side surround, and you couldn't get away with it with a compression driver. Impossible. It would be a piercing experience. And you wouldn't cover the listening area. In this case, 120 degrees by 90 degrees. Even for a soft dome, that would be an outstanding spec. And this is an honest spec. This is an honest spec up to 20 kilohertz. Even a soft dome, would be state-of-the-art soft dome dispersion. Here 90-60, so we mix and match wherever we need it. Rear is 90-60 dispersion. Up high we have middle bay 120-90, 90-60 again. And the big news this year is the front stage. So usually we design systems around point sources. When you start to stack ribbon style drivers, you end up with a line source. That means you collapse the vertical dispersion so much that it's basically non-existent. In this case, on paper, it's like 2 degrees. So basically what a line array does and a line source does, it projects sound cylindrical into the cylindrical propagation into the room. So you don't have any sound below it and above it. Our stack, what you see is a 12-inch sealed base module, and on top of it we have a line source that is called the CRMSQ, a line source module, where we take 2 12-inch drivers on top of each other and 4 6.5-inch mid-bass drivers behind it, coaxial actually, state-of-the-art again. The cone design, also state-of-the-art active voice coil. This is active coil technology. This is pretty much the best mids that you can source. And we take 2 of those modules. So we have everything from like 68 centimeters up to 2 meters is covered by the line array. There is hardly any sound below and above it. And we have horizontally 2 different dispersion patterns again, flexibility. We have 80 degrees for left and right, and the center is 110 degrees, right, to give an appropriate coverage for this listening area. Bass is handled by 4 stacks of 6 12-inch drivers vented each. So we have 24 12-inch drivers firing at you. Processing, Trinov. This is traditional bass management with front, rear. I mean, I group it in a smart way, but there is no waveforming or double bass array in this particular run. Projection, Sony 380, 4K laser projector, flagship model of Sony at the moment, projecting onto a dream screen. X1, woven, knitted woven, wonderful screen. But let's have a listen. Let's prove the point that I just tried to make. And I extract those clips from consumer content. So this is exactly what you can expect from your own collections at home. Usually it's extracted from UHD Blu-ray and has an Atmos mix.